Laughter followed her across the training yard as she paused near the obstacle course, boots dusted white, hands relaxed at her sides. To them, she looked out of place, too calm, too ordinary, too quiet. None of them knew they were looking at a woman who had survived 200 missions where mistakes meant coffins. None of them knew she was already deciding how much of the truth to reveal. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you were watching from. I love knowing who is listening. Her name was Commander Elise Ward, though she hadn't used her rank in years, unless absolutely necessary. She was there as an evaluator, invited quietly by senior command to observe the next generation of officers. No announcements, no ceremony. Just a woman in plain fatigues standing beneath a sky stretched thin and pale, watching young cadets who still believed courage came from volume. They were good. She could see that. Strong, fast, hungry, they moved with the sharpness of people who hadn't yet been broken by consequence. Elise remembered that version of herself, how light the world had once felt before it taught her what weight really was. As the cadets began their drills, she leaned against the fence, eyes tracking details others missed. Grip tension, breath control. The way one young man masked fear with jokes, another with cruelty. When one cadet stumbled on the ropes and fell hard, the laughter came again, louder this time. Elise's jaw tightened. She thought she'd learned to ignore that sound. She was wrong. A senior instructor noticed her and walked over, irritation clear in his stride. "Ma'am, this area is restricted," he said, already half-turned as if expecting compliance. "Observers, stay back." She met his eyes. Calm. Steady. "I am staying back," she replied. Her voice was even, but there was something in a tan undertow that made him pause. The cadets noticed the hesitation. Whispers spread. Someone muttered another joke. Elise felt the familiar moral tension rise. She could flash credentials. End it instantly. She could let the lesson unfold the harder way. But she chose patience. The final exercise of the day was a timed course designed to exhaust, confuse, and expose weakness. Elise watched as cadets rushed in, muscles burning, focus slipping. When one froze midway, overwhelmed, instructors barked orders that only made it worse. Elise stepped forward without thinking. "Breathe," she said, not loud but clear. The cadet looked at her, startled. 3 steps. "Don't look at the end. Look at your hands." He obeyed. Slowly, the course resumed. A ripple of unease passed through the instructors. "Ma'am," one snapped, "do not interfere." Elise turned. For the first time, something cold flickered behind her eyes. "If this were real," she said quietly, "he'd be dead already." Silence fell like a dropped flag. The colonel arrived minutes later, drawn by instinct more than report. He took one look at Elise and smiled a small, knowing expression that didn't reach his eyes. "Commander Ward," he said. The cadets froze. Some color drained from faces, others frowned, confused. One brave or foolish cadet scoffed under his breath. "Commander of what?" Elise didn't answer. She didn't need to. The colonel gestured toward the course. "Care to show them?" Elise hesitated, not because she couldn't, but because she remembered the cost of proving yourself the hard way. She thought of the faces she carried with her, the ones that never made it home. She thought she'd never feel that old ache again. She was wrong. She stepped onto the course. Her movements weren't fast. They were efficient. Every motion had purpose, every breath controlled. She flowed over obstacles like water finding its path, conserving energy, seeing angles before they formed. The yard went silent, except for the soft rhythm of her movement. Halfway through, she stopped. A cadet ahead of her had misjudged a leap and was hanging awkwardly, panic rising. Without hesitation, Elise reached out, anchored herself, and pulled him to safety. She finished the course, slower than the best cadets' times. She finished with everyone standing. When she stepped down, dust clinging to her sleeves, no one laughed. The colonel addressed the group. "Commander Ward has completed 200 missions," he said. "Some of them you'll read about, most you won't. She's here to remind us that arrogance gets people killed and restraint saves them." One cadet swallowed hard. Another stared at the ground. The one who had sneered earlier stepped forward, voice shaking. "Ma'am, I'm sorry." Elise studied him. Not with anger. With recognition. I know, she said. I was you once. Later, as the sun dipped low and the yard emptied, Elise sat alone on the bleachers. The day's noise faded, replaced by the hum of memory. She wondered if she'd done enough, if lessons like this ever truly stuck. The cadet she'd helped approached, helmet tucked under his arm. Thank you, he said, for slowing down. She nodded. Speed feels heroic, she replied. But survival is quieter, he smiled, understanding just beginning to dawn. Because real strength isn't about proving you belong. It's about making sure everyone makes it home. As night settled over the training yard, Elise stood and walked away, her steps unhurried. The laughter from earlier felt distant now, stripped of its power. The place where it had started the assumption, the sneer had been transformed into something else entirely. If this story resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments and tell us where you're listening from. And if you believe quiet courage deserves to be heard, subscribe to Whispered Words, because the strongest stories aren't shouted, they're lived.